Reloading for military surplus rifles. A lot of people out there buy guns, and I'm kind of making this video for people who are not familiar to reloading and maybe are thinking about it. I guess a lot of people are interested because I just sold a whole pile of dies. So there is a lot of interest there, and maybe some people aren't that experienced. I myself have reloaded for a long time, just because when I was younger I didn't have the money to get store-bought ammo. And, you know, reloading it at 30 years ago used to save you a lot of money, okay? Military surplus, generally when the guns come in, stockpiles of old ammunition also come with it, and it's usually dirt cheap because it's obsolete or over 20 years old, and you know, it's reasonably priced. But what happens, or what's happening now, is as the supply of military surplus guns is drying up, also the importation of pretty inexpensive military ammo is also not arriving in the country, so prices are going up. And even though a lot of commercial ammunition companies will make, like Remington, Winchester, will make 8mm Mauser, 7.62 by 54, 303 British. PPU is really good about making all the military calibers, and their ammunition is not bad. Okay. Hornady was making a bunch of obsolete calibers like the 9mm Steyr, the 6.5 Carcano, the Carcanos, and I believe even the 8x56 rim Hungarian. And their ammunition's kind of high-end and pricey, but it's probably the best you can get. So you ask yourself, should I get into it or not? And you can go to where you do it very minimally, like with a Lee loader. If you go to the Gun Geeks channel, you'll see them making some 8mm or 6.5 Jap with a Lee loader. You don't even need a press, you just need the kit and a soft-faced hammer. And you can hammer out some rounds. And you know, if you want to make 5-10 rounds, fool around that way. Or you could go to a progressive reloader that's driven electrically or hydraulically, like I've seen for some shotgun shells, where basically you just, you know, they're in the thousands of dollars, but basically you just sit there and load this thing up with cases and that, and just step on a foot pedal and around it goes, and out comes the ammo. So you got a lot of different options also with reloading. Rain was getting a little heavy, and people complain they can't hear me over the sound of the rain. So like I was saying, generally the surplus ammo market was it was cheaper than reload. What I used to reload for is like pistol rounds, 38 special, 44 Magnum, 45 auto, because I shot at one time a lot of handgun rounds. You know, in 6 months I do 1,000 rounds. And that's where I got into casting. Is years ago, lead, I mean, people would give it to you, okay, just to get rid of it. And you can get wheel weights, everything else. You used to go to the garage and they'd give you wheel weights. They have a bucket of them, they say, here, take it. You just throw them out. Well, now lead's considered a hazardous material, plus I've seen it go up to $3 a pound, and now everybody wants money for their lead, okay? So that kind of put a damper. If you do have, which I did once, that's gone now, but I had a free supply of linotype that if I wanted 100, 200 pounds of it, I just asked and I got it, okay? I mean, that's where you'd save your money. If you can get a component and somebody gives it to you, that's where you'll kind of really make out reloading, but those days are long gone. People used to give me all their fired brass. You know, now everybody, the way the world is now, everybody wants $1 for everything. So It's like, we'll use an example. I bought some 8mm bullets. Now, Privy Partisan is pretty good about all the military stuff. This is like for 8mm Mauser. It's an 8mm, 198 grain full metal jacket bullet. These cost about 30 cents a piece, okay? Brass, I have the brass for the 7.5 Swiss. This come out to about 60 cents a piece, and that's about what your going rate, anywhere from 50 to 60 cents with Privy Partisan. Norma or anybody else, or Lapula, stuff's $1 a case for brand new brass, or more, way more, depending on the caliber. 7.5 Swiss is another one. This is where you run into like a conundrum. I bought a rifle for 300 bucks. Now I can buy Swiss manufactured ammo, it's out there. I can buy like 480 rounds for $300 delivered. And that's a nice brass case, it's real good stuff, fairly newly manufactured, but it's barred and primed, not reloadable. Now a lot of people try to reload barred and shells, because brass like that is pretty neat. I'll get some of it. I really don't want to drop 300 bucks on a case. If I can get a few boxes to compare and examine and then see how it goes up against my reloads, that's kind of what I do. You know, some calibers you have to reload for them, okay, because you cannot find the ammunition. And that's where, like, some of the ones I feature be like the 8mm Danish Craig rifle. That you more or less have to make yourself. You can get brass, you can either get it made, or you can get brass from Bertram, which is ungodly expensive, but you have to reload the ammo yourself. I doubt very much there's any factory produced ammo, at least not in the U.S. So that's another thing to take into consideration. And you could get away, if you use Lee tools, you don't need a whole bunch of tools, but about 200 bucks can get you a good start. And you can reload. The only thing about reloading is you have to know your information. Make sure you know differences in the powders and get load data. Now that's another thing. There are a lot of cartridges, there's no load data. You can get reloading dies for 8x56 Hungarian, but you can't find load data for it anywhere. Okay, and that's more of an advanced type of reloading where you're kind of guessing and working at it. There are people that will put information out, but it's not published like in a reloading manual where it's been tested or something. But most of your common calibers, like the 303 British, the 30-06 8mm, all of your 7mm Mauser net, you've got plenty of data, plenty of bullets, and it should be easy and safe. Cast bullets is another way, like I mentioned. Cast bullets is another way to go. I've had some luck in the 6.5 Carcano. I have done some work with cast bullets in rifles. Most of my experience is in pistols. But I'm getting good results, but then again, like I said, lead's $3 a pound. So, and if you're using a gas check, and I'll do a video on gas checks, explain why, and warn you about some stuff about them. Or usually, most places will make a plain base mold, the same design, so you can get either or. But it can be difficult and your results can vary. I was lucky. I hit one with that 6.5 Carcano and I got real good results. It takes some experimentation. One thing I see with people doing when they want to reload is they'll go buy a pound or two of powder, one type of powder. And then they'll get a gun and say, well, I need load data for this caliber, but the only powder I got is this. Or I had such and such, like 3 or 4 different powders. Well, you kind of have to match up your powder with the gun and the caliber sometimes. You can't just buy one powder and use it for things like a 22 Hornet all the way to a 358 H&H Magnum, okay? You know, you're gonna have to make sure you make your right choices and not try to use just because you have it, it's already paid for, try to make it work. It might not work out too well for you. And there is a few odd things, and when I do each caliber I'll go over them. One is the M1 Garand. You kind of want to use two different types of powder that more or less replicate the old M2 ball, because the problem with the Garand is you don't want to bend the op rod. You can hurt the gun, or you can get it to malfunction by not using the right powder. There's about 3 different ones you can use. A lot of the guys that compete and know a lot about these guns tell you that like putting 30-06 Wolf ammo in there really isn't a good idea. Okay, and most of the surplus ammo that comes on Garand clips is loaded, no matter where it is, from Pakistan or whatever, kind of graduated probably to the rifle. I don't think a foreign country would load ammunition that would damage the gun. And the other one that's kind of problematic is the 303 British. And the reason is they made those rifles with generous chamber dimensions. They weren't meant as target guns, and they didn't really reload ammo. So your chambers are kind of big on them. Even if the gun is in mint condition, it's part of function. You let the case expand, contract, and 100% function in combat conditions. A lot of people have trouble with 303 British. Your cases don't last long because of the generous chamber. It'll expand more, and your brass doesn't hold up. It cracks, splits, separates. So that's another one. I've never reloaded for the 303 British because I had huge piles of ammunition. I think I still got about 500-600 rounds of some stuff made in the Middle East somewhere. It's corrosive. And it shoots well. Okay, so I really never had the need, but I'd like to get into it. I still have one rifle left. I had 3 or 4 of them, but I got a nice gun with a good bore. And I like to do soft point hunt and load, military full jacket, and a cast bullet. See if I can get some cast bullets out of there. Kind of be a little bit more economical in my target practice. And it's another good thing. Good thing about your bullets, if you get several different calibers, like I was mentioning, the 303 British. The 303 British, 7.7 Japanese, and the Mosin Nagant will all use the same bullet. So if you go buy bullets in bulk, it's 3 calibers you cover right there. 30 caliber bullets can be used in 30-06, 308, 7.5 French Mas for the World War II bolt-action rifle, and also the Swiss 7.5s. You can load with a 308, 309 diameter bullet. So if you are a collector, bear that in mind. If you got 3 different types of guns, the one bullet will work kind of in all of them, like I said. So that's another thing. But what I'm going to do is make videos and cover each caliber. Today I believe I'm going to go with reloading for the 30-06 or the M1 Garand 30-06, because that's a little bit of a specialty thing, and I'll explain in detail why when I get into the video. And then as I progress along, like I said in the other video, I just found that pile of brass in it, and I might as well, it's raining, I might as well load up some 30-06, get my Garand out again and dust it off and shoot it. Well, that's kind of my take on reloading for military surplus. I hope that kind of helps you get an idea what you're getting into if you're not into reloading or are thinking about it.